Thank you for looking at my website. I'd like to read an excerpt from my novel, The Mysterious Woman on the Train. David Martin is a professor at a southern Wisconsin college when, on a train trip to Chicago, he meets Rosalind, resident ghost and victim of her own unsolved 1940s murder. It's been more than 2 years since I encountered the mysterious woman on the Chicago and Northwestern. I'm constantly amazed at all that has happened. On the train that day, I brought reading material to keep me entertained for the 2-hour trip. Almost an hour had passed before I glanced up from my book and observed a beautiful woman slipping into the aisle seat next to the door. Wearing an elegant black suit, a white silk blouse, black heels, and a black pillbox hat with a veil touching the bridge of her nose, she held her shoulders back in perfect posture. Her auburn hair fell to her shoulders in a pageboard cut, and her lips glistened with ruby red lipstick. Noting the entire outfit seemed reminiscent of the 1940s, the thought occurred to me that this interesting-looking woman might enjoy wearing vintage clothing. I could understand why, because she looked great in them. Fascinated, I watched her opening her purse and pulling out a magazine. The silver screen, I mumbled, remembering that I'd seen a copy of that 40s magazine in my grandfather's attic. I smiled inwardly, thinking that gorgeous creature may be carrying this vintage lifestyle a bit far. I stared at her for a moment and then peered around the car to check out the other passengers. I thought it odd that no one seemed to be paying any attention to the provocative beauty dressed in 50-year-old attire. I picked up my book and pretended to read while stealing glances at the woman who had captivated me. She absently turned a few pages, then got up suddenly. My heartbeat raced like a love-struck teenager's. Acting like a complete fool, I couldn't prevent myself from leaping out of my seat and following her. I tried not to be obvious when I entered the smoking car, so I sat down in a lounge chair, 2 chairs away from her. At that time, I smoked, and I reached for a package of Marlboros from my coat pocket. I lit up and watched her from the corner of my eye. She pulled an expensive-looking silver case from her purse, took out a cigarette, and flicked her silver jewel-encrusted lighter. I wondered if a boyfriend had given her the case and lighter, and felt a bit angry with myself when I felt a little jealous. I blew a few smoke rings and tried to appear sophisticated. I desperately wanted to strike up a conversation, but I felt tongue-tied. Her eyes weren't blinking, and I noticed her far-away expression. I could feel something eerie happening, yet I couldn't put my finger on it. Once again, I scanned the car and noticed no one observing her. Befuddled, I couldn't understand why I seemed to be the only man in the car who found this gorgeous woman fascinating. And you'll need to read the rest of The Mysterious Woman on the Train to find out what happens to David and Rosalind.